This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Large in the windows. Strange, she thought, bringing the little white Honda to a stop where the walkway from the front door reached the curb. They seemed to be staring at her. They were directly behind her as she secured her handbrake. She left the motor running, watching them in the rearview mirror. What would 4 men be doing sitting in a parked car like that? The front door of Book Press opened, and Terry, on time as usual, headed down the walkway toward the passenger side of the car. She had barely taken her first steps when the doors of the big sedan started opening. Sally went rigid, watching in the mirror. She had an impression of trench coats and shiny shoes, an ominous look that she associated with the mafia and TV thugs. It fitted with her uneasiness about Terry Martin. They came from both sides of the sedan, and they seemed to be walking forward in parallel formation, as if to surround her own tiny car and prevent her from leaving. What could they want with her? She locked the door next to her, imagining herself jamming the gas pedal to the floor as Terry leaped into the passenger seat, the Honda screeching away through the crowded parking lot. Her hands trembled on the steering wheel. One of the men closer to the walkway spoke to Terry. She turned immediately from the walk and moved a few steps toward him and his partner. The one who had been heading for the driver's side of the Honda moved toward the curb and joined the little group. The man in the lead reached into his pocket. Sally was afraid to turn around or do anything that might draw attention to herself. She turned her eyes upward to the rearview mirror, trying to watch without moving her head. The man was pulling a wallet from his pocket. He held it in his hand and let it flop open. A moment passed before she realized it held a badge, and next to the shiny metal she thought she saw large letters, reversed in the mirror, IBF. What was going on? The men talked with Terry for a moment. Then she turned from them and came to the passenger side of the car. She opened the door and put her head in. There was no expression on her face. "I've got a ride," she said. "I'll see you later." Terry closed the door, walked back to the sedan, and got in with the men. Sally sat at the steering wheel for several minutes, her heart pounding. "I've got a ride, I'll see you later? Just like that? That's it?" What was going on? Just a little bit longer, Barry Hunter thought as they headed for the Brattleboro police station. The woman was ready to talk. You could see it as soon as LeClaire spoke to her in the parking lot. When they saw her come out of Book Press, Hunter had slipped out of the driver's seat and walked around the front of the car, a few steps behind LeClaire and Steele, who were getting out of the passenger side. He had moved up behind them as Steele showed her his FBI identification, introduced himself, and identified the 2 state troopers. The blonde woman looked at Steele impassively. There was a sharp, self-possessed quality to her gaze. She was smaller than they had thought, Hunter noticed, a good 2 or 3 inches shorter. Hunter had been following her trail in New Hampshire for more than a week now, but Book Press was just across the border in Brattleboro, LeClaire's jurisdiction. The Vermont trooper spoke for them all. "We have reason to believe you're not who you claim to be," LeClaire said. Hunter stared into her face, looking for a sign and poised to move. Even with an apparently harmless person like this small woman, the moment of confrontation was a tense one. No matter how many times you had done it, you never knew what was going to happen. Sometimes they just gave up, tired of running and hiding, but sometimes they bolted, and sometimes they fought. Cops got killed that way, and suspects too. As the meaning of LeClaire's words sank in, the woman's face seemed to lose its shape, like a slow-motion mudslide. Hunter knew in that moment there was no resistance in her. Her features relaxed, her shoulders slumped, She deflated before their eyes. There was a pause before she spoke.
Yes,